Good morning, my name is Ted Lyons and I'm a member of St John the Baptist Church in Hill Morton. I first started to go to church when I was 19. I was the first to do so in the whole of my extended family in the East End of London. This hurt my father very much. He thought that he was losing his son to these odd Christians. He was my father, but also he'd been like a brother. Now our relationship was strained. Within a year, my mother started to come to church with me. Well, that only compounded my dad's fears and anxieties, as you can imagine. He was losing his wife to the church as well. The relative peace of our family at that time was fractured, and it was difficult. I remember too walking along the street where I lived, and I saw two old friends who knew that I'd become a Christian. As they approached, I heard one say to the other, "Don't speak to him, otherwise I'll beat you up." They walked by in silence. I was losing old friends fast. In many ways, it was sad and difficult. But isn't that what Jesus is saying in this astonishing passage, Luke 14, verse 25? Do you really want to be my disciple? You must hate your family, give up your possessions, and be ready for a nasty death. Hardly a way to win followers, let alone friends. So my difficulties all those years ago, in fact, were nothing compared to Christians in many parts of the world today. My wife Heather and myself support two organisations that focus and help persecuted Christians throughout the world. Regularly we read of Christians who have lost everything because they have valued their faith and love of Christ above everything else. Let me give you three brief examples. Their names have been changed for security. First, we asked to pray for Sonia, who lives in India. She accepted Christ 3 years ago and her father stopped talking to her. She went to theological college and has now returned home, but her father still disowns her and she is currently living with her pastor's family. We're asked to pray for her and that her parents may come to know Christ as well. Secondly, we pray for Halimah in China. She is a Christian whose husband himself, a Christian, was arrested 6 months ago and has not been heard of since. Isn't that shocking? That's what happens in a police state, and how fortunate we are to live in a democracy. But sadly, it's commonplace not only in China, but in many countries throughout the world. On top of this, Halimah was demoted at work when her boss heard of her Christian faith. She is desperate and asks God for his mercy and his protection. Thirdly, we pray for Favan in Eritrea, a mother of 4 whose Christian husband died for his faith last year after 2 years in a remote prison. Favan now faces challenges of providing for herself and her 4 children. Lord, help and comfort her as she comes to terms with the great challenge and huge loss. These are just 3 of thousands of examples of Christians throughout the world who have put God at the centre of their lives at great cost. So back to Luke 14. Does Jesus really mean hate your father and your mother? Surely his words cannot contradict the Old Testament law which he came to uphold and fulfill. We are instructed to honour our parents. And the New Testament teaches that our faith should express itself in care and protection of our family. And the current pandemic has held up a mirror for us to see how valuable the family is today. Jesus is not so much telling us to hate our family, but to love God with a passion that supersedes even the strongest family ties. Are you, am I, prepared for that. We must understand that Jesus, what he says in their context. First, large crowds now were following him. And so he challenges them. He wants to separate those who are coming for a blessing from those who are coming for him and are really serious about discipleship. Jesus doesn't want you or me to say yes and then turn back. He wants the crowd and us to know there is a cost in carrying a cross. This is a risky strategy from Jesus, because such strong demands and strong language could cause you and me to leave. But that decision will sift the crowd and us. Jesus is at ease with those who want to be blessed and then go home. But he calls, through cost, those who want to go further. Someone said, however much we have given up for Jesus, he is still a wonderful bargain. Have a good day. God bless.